So it's time to buy a house. You decide it's time. Maybe you're getting married, maybe you're getting divorced, maybe you've just been saving and now is the time. So I want to help you out because I know when you first go to buy a home, especially if it's your first time, it can be really confusing, really throw you off your game, and you might not know where to start. So start right here. Start by working with an agent who is really, really skilled and experienced and who understands what's going on in the real estate market. The biggest mistake you can make if you're new to buying a home is to go with an agent who doesn't have a lot of skill and experience. It's like the blind leading the blind. No disrespect intended. But you really want to make sure in this market, especially in California, especially in Sacramento, the market moves like this, and it is a seller's market. So if you're buying a home, you absolutely want to make sure that you have someone at the wheel who is helping you and guiding you and leading you and educating you, not just telling you what to do, not demanding things, not saying you need to sign this and do that. Make sure that you're working with someone who you get along with personality wise, because that's really an important part of it. It's really an important component to you being successful in purchasing a home. You don't want to work with an agent who drives you crazy, or someone who doesn't answer your questions, or someone who's arrogant, or someone who tries to push you around or bully you into making decisions. Really, really important. That's the first thing. That's why I have this channel, so people can watch my videos, determine, is she someone that I like or not? Can I trust her? Is she kind of funny? Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's important that you like the agent. That's number one. Number two, and if it's a good agent, and if you're not in the Sacramento area, then it can't be me, so you could, that's okay. You can find a good agent in your area. I will tell you, I'll stop right now and tell you, wherever you are, if it's in the United States and parts of Canada, I can help you find an agent. I have a referral network that I am a part of, and I know agents in every single state and parts of Canada. So even if you are not in Sacramento and you are thinking of buying or selling a home, please reach out, use the link below, contact me, shoot me a text, DM me, message me, comment, and I will help you find an agent after I talk to you, so I know exactly what you're looking for and get a little feel for your personality. Because like I wouldn't pair someone up, like let's say that you're a really bubbly, vivacious person. I wouldn't pair you up with someone who was very stoic, who you couldn't even stand to talk to because they talk too slow, and vice versa. Okay, so number one is you've got to find a good agent. Number two, that good agent is going to insist, not being bossy or a bully, but they're going to insist that you talk to a lender. Why? Because you may think you know what your price range is. You may say, well, I make this much, I don't have any debt, my credit score is this, I have this much in savings, but you're not a lender. I'm not a lender. As 30 years in the industry, I can tell you, I'm always surprised when my lender says this is what they're qualified for. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, but it's really, really important that you trust an expert. And I only work with lenders who are extremely skilled. Just like I said, you have to work with an agent who's really skilled, who you get along with, and who really knows the market. That agent is only going to work with the lender who is the same thing, right? The counterpart. Once you meet with a lender, and even if it's just a talk on the phone, you've got to have that pre-approval or that pre-qualification letter. To go house hunting before you've spoken to a lender is like having dessert before you have dinner, which is not always such a bad thing. But getting back to house hunting, you absolutely want to talk to a lender first. I'm going to tell you why. You otherwise may spend your day looking at houses, find one you're absolutely in love with, only to get back in the car and have the lender call and say, yeah, this isn't with your loan, that won't work. Or to hear the lender say, sorry, you can't quite budget for that one. We don't want that. It really ruins things for you. You know, it messes with your mind. So let's get you talking to a lender, a good, qualified, reputable, ethical lender, and see exactly where you are. And over the phone, he or she can give you a price point. And it's important to understand when they first speak to you, they're going to give you a pre-qualification. They're going to say, based on my conversation with this person, based on their income, their debt to ratio, and how much money they have saved up, or how much money mom and dad are giving them, or whatever it is, this is the price range you should be looking in. And so we can start house hunting. We can actually go looking at houses that are in that price range, because at least we have an idea. Now, once the lender has had you in and you've signed some documents and he's he or she has run a credit check on you, now we're talking turkey. Now the lender is able to tell me, okay, Tamara, this buyer is pre-approved for $550,000. Now the lender is pretty much saying, we've got skin in the game. This is what we're willing to give this person. Now again, the loan process is not over, because sometimes things come up that no one expected, like maybe a bankruptcy you had 8 years ago that you forgot about or whatever. But a pre-approval is just like gold. It's like money in the bank. It's not down to the last wire, because something can still go wrong. But for the most part, I feel really good about showing you houses that are in that price range. Your lender feels really good about you looking at houses in that price range. So you should feel pretty good about looking at houses in that price range. So once you've found your agent, you've talked to a lender, whether it's pre-qual or pre-approved, doesn't matter, we'll get you there. Then we get to go about our merry way house hunting. Now, you can go to some open houses, but I like to spend an afternoon and take you places. And I want to just give you the heads up, and this is the last point I want to make, is that the new laws in California stipulate that when an agent shows you property, you must sign something called a buyer-broker agreement. What is a buyer-broker agreement? A buyer-broker agreement is you acknowledging that this is an agent you're going to work with the next 3 months, the next 6 months, whatever you choose, whatever you guys decide, and that you will sign it. And this is legal now. I mean, it's not, I used to never use it, even though the form's been around for years, but now it's legal. Like, we have to do it. And, you know, I could go into all the details of why, and when we talk and meet, I will explain it. But suffice it to say, for right now, it's really a way to protect you and to protect me. And again, I didn't make up the rules. I'm just following them. For example, sometimes people will work with an agent for 6 months, not find a house they like, and then go to an open house and find a house they like, and then just say, oh, to the agent, you can write the offer. And that's not really fair for the agent who spent her time and her money and her, you know, all of her resources showing you homes. So that's one thing. But on your part, it protects you, because when you're looking at properties, when you're out there looking at properties, it's like you are represented. And that is so important in real estate. When I work with you, whether you're a buyer or a seller, we have what's called a fiduciary responsibility to you. I have one to you. And it just means the utmost ethics and fairness. And the truth of the matter is, once we make that move, then we know we're in it for the long term. But I want to make something really super crystal clear. Even though by law, I have to have you fill out this form before we look at properties, I will not hold it to you. If, say, we look at 2 or 3 properties and you're like, you know what, we're just going to take a break. We're done looking for a couple months. I will tear that form up. I do not hold anyone to it. Again, it's just a legal requirement. My philosophy on it is, if you don't want to work with me, why would I make you? Right? But if you really want to see a house and you call me and you're like, Tamara, we really want to see this house in Fair Oaks, can you show it to me? I'm going to have you sign this. But one thing I can do to give you more freedom is I can put the house address I'm showing you, and I can say it's just for this house. And if you don't want to work with me to show you other houses, you don't have to. Because even though that's a legal requirement, I can't stand the idea of pigeonholing someone in and saying, I'm your agent. Okay, that has to be a mutual choice, and it has to be, you know, one that we both agree with. So that's exactly what goes on. You first find an agent who will send you to the lender, and then we will do the house hunting. But it's important to note that you go in that order. Now, some people will come to me and they will already have spoken to a lender. I don't hate that, but I usually can find a lender that will give you a better rate. I'm not promising it, I can't guarantee it, but there are a lot of people go to the banks that they bank at and they think, oh, this is great. But banks are limited, they're restricted to only give you loan programs that fall within their franchise or their particular bank. And there are a lot of loans out there that, B of A or Wells Fargo doesn't necessarily prescribe to. So the whole idea is to get you the best loan. I want to get you the most bang for the buck. I want to get you a loan that suits your needs and your lifestyle. But also, like, if you're a first-time home buyer and you go to a bank, they might not have a first-time home loan that is as good as what I can get you through one of my lenders. So it's really important that you consider that. And it's okay if you've gone to a bank, it's okay. At least let me have you talk to a lender who can give you a different quote. And people are worried. They're like, oh my gosh, if I go to another lender, then they're gonna pull up my credit again. And it's gonna be dings on my credit, blah blah blah. You really don't need to worry about that, because it's kind of like an excuse thing, because you were shopping loans, right? Just like if you go car shopping and they're gonna pull your credit, yeah, that's a mark on your credit. But if you go to 5 lots in the same day and they're all pulling your credit, it may have an impact on your credit, but at the end of the day, you were shopping for cars and you wanted to see who would give you the best deal. So it's not the detrimental thing that people think it is, okay? But if you do have a lender that you love, and I'm all about loyalty, so if you do have a lender that you love and you want to stay with that lender, that's perfectly fine. I just ask that if it's a bank, that you at least let me show you what someone else might be able to do for you. And if you're like dead set, nope, you're the boss. And if you say, nope, that's it, I'm using this bank, then that's okay. I'll know what the amount is, and I'll know what kind of loan it is, and then we can start house hunting. And one last thing I want to throw in there is, all buyers think that if you go online, you can find all these houses that maybe somehow slip by me, but that's not what's happening. If I don't send you a particular home that you find on Zillow or Realtor.com, and you're like, why didn't she show us this home? This is exactly what we want. There's a reason. And the reason is usually because it either doesn't fit with your loan, okay? Certain loans have certain properties that they're prohibited against. Say, if you have an FHA loan, that's what you're gonna go with, a government-backed loan. You can't buy a house that's a fixer-upper because the lender won't allow it. So there's certain requirements like that. And then the second thing is your price range. You don't want to be looking at homes that are $100,000 over what you're qualified for. It doesn't make any sense. I am also, though, open to looking at homes that are above your price range that we can offer lower on. And that's a whole nother story. Like, we want to look, how long's it been on the market? Are the sellers super motivated? Can we offer 20, 30, 40 grand less, right? We have to be really strategic when you're writing an offer. And I am, so you don't have to worry about that. Anyway, if that sounds good to you and you want to talk about buying a home, click on the link below. Let's set up a Zoom chat and get to know each other a little bit and go house hunting. I'm ready for it. Have a great day, and thanks for watching.